My Republican colleagues say these programs to help the working class and middle class people, they say that's why we have inflation. They're dead wrong. Under my predecessor, the great MAGA king, the deficit increased every single year he was president.
Inflation was at 1.4% when Joe Biden walked into the White House. That was President Biden yesterday, blaming now Republicans this time, being responsible for the soaring inflation and record high gasoline prices. Joining me right now is Kentucky Congressman Andy Barr. He is a member of the Financial Services and Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thanks very much for being here this morning. You just heard Biden. He's also really trying to make the word ultra MAGA a bad word. He keeps saying ultra MAGA this and ultra MAGA that, as it is supposed to suggest that anybody who is MAGA is a bad person. Do you consider yourself a MAGA person, Make America Great Again, Andy Barr?
Of course, we all should want to make America great again. And unfortunately, I think the American people are laughing off Joe Biden's claim that somehow inflation was worse under the previous administration. As you said, inflation was less than 2% the entire term of the previous president. It has soared since the overspending policies of this administration. And it's not just the overspending. It's the fact that this administration has waged a war on domestic energy production, constraining the supply of energy, paying people to not work through this overspending program, which has constrained the supply of labor. And the threat of higher taxes from the Biden administration has prevented the capital expenditures that we need to repair our supply chains. So the American people don't buy any of this nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, President Trump hears him talking about ultra MAGA. He's actually using it to sell T-shirts to raise money. He's got a T-shirt of him called Ultra MAGA, MAGA King, for people to buy T-shirts on this. I mean, is it resonating that the president is trying to divide this country again, calling Ultra MAGA versus the rest of us? I mean, what is he trying to say by saying Ultra MAGA so much?
Well, he's trying to deflect blame away from anyone but himself. But the fact of the matter is, this inflation crisis resulted in a toxic mix, a supply-demand mismatch, a toxic mix of bad policies from this administration, from congressional Democrats, and the Federal Reserve. All the while, this administration was constraining the supply of energy and labor and threatening higher taxes, which froze business investment. Congressional Democrats were on a spending binge that created excess demand. And then the Federal Reserve, despite our warnings, continued its quantitative easing program, continued to buy assets, continued to keep interest rates too low for too long. And this created this disastrous 40-year high in inflation. Yesterday's Department of Labor report shows that inflation is not transitory. It is staying with us. Prices continue to rise across every category. And the only reason, Maria, that we didn't have a 9th consecutive month of inflation rate increasing was because there was a slight easing in fuel prices last month. This month, there is a total reversal. Gas prices this week hit a $4.37 nationwide per gallon high. Again, gas prices are historic high. Yeah. The American people are not buying this.
Well,
and they can't afford it.
Congressman, you know, they're talking about inflation at the kitchen table, but the lawmakers on the Democrat side, progressives, are instead talking about abortion. They're marching from the House to the Senate just before Senator Joe Manchin tanked the party's abortion bill. Here's Senator Manchin yesterday on why he voted no to that bill. Watch.
Make no mistake, it is not Roe v. Wade codification. It's an expansion. It wipes 500 state laws off the books. It expands abortion. And with that, that's not where we are today. We should not be dividing this country further than we're already divided.
So, Congressman, do you think most people understand that this bill that was voted on yesterday was pretty much allowing abortion up until the 8th or 9th month, expanding what abortion means, and that's why they voted it down?
Yeah, for the life of me, I don't understand why Democrats believe that their radical agenda of abortion on demand up to the day of birth and even beyond birth and taxpayer funded is in any way popular with the American people, including pro-choice Americans who oppose this radical program. Over 80% of Americans do not support this radical policy. And look, Roe versus Wade was wrongly decided. The majority of Americans, even those who believe in some right to abortion, recognize that the federal Constitution says nothing about abortion, and for 50 years, the Roe versus Wade decision has denied the American people access to the democratic process to resolve the contours of abortion policy in this country. And so this doesn't change that. This just enables the American people to define abortion laws the way they want to through democracy.
Yep, absolutely. Congressman, real quick before you go, President Biden is pretty close to controlling the Federal Reserve. Let's face it. The Senate confirmed Lisa Cook last night to be the Federal Reserve governor. The Senate has confirmed now 2 of his picks. Another 2 could be confirmed within days. And then you've got Jay Powell's confirmation coming up. What is your, being on financial services, what is your assessment of Biden pretty much controlling the Federal Reserve, it looks like?
Well, 2 problems here. One is monetary policy. It portends the possibility that they will continue the monetary policy errors, the historic monetary policy errors, and not tighten fast enough to deal with this inflation crisis. And secondly, it continues to be an omen for the politicization of financial regulation, the weaponization of financial regulation against energy. This is going to exacerbate the inflation problem, to not tighten sufficiently enough now that they've made these historic mistakes, and then to further constrain the supply of domestic energy because of the politicization of financial regulation against fossil energy, to redirect capital away from fossil energy, to continue this wrong-headed ESG agenda that is constraining the supply and increasing the price at the pump. The American people will not stand for this, and we are going to exercise searching oversight over the Fed's policies, both on the monetary policy side and the regulatory supervision side.
Well, here we are at 40-year inflation and a recession potentially coming in the coming months. The bad policy has resulted in bad outcomes. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. Andy Barr joining us in Washington.